this just little bit that this is Vincent's last book. It's called The Pleroma, and there's a small little poem in here, which he calls Song, and he says, "Paradise is the process. We are all ways and wholly here." Hi. Paradise is the process. We are all ways and wholly here. So this book, I don't think you got a chance to see, but it came out soon after his passing. Ferrini's poems can be read as history of our time. The anxieties and grinding poverty of industrial America, immigrant America, Depression America, up through the age which followed the economic boom after World War II with its concomitant luxury of expanded consciousness. His poems do not extend the limits of language to create an alternative world, but they do humanize the present one. In precisely this way, the course of his career is of interest and the poet's own persistence in following his vocation rewarded. Ferrini began as an authentic proletarian writer, a worker, largely self-educated, writing about the people for the people. Mike Gold, author of the classic of the Depression, Jews Without Money, said Ferrini's early poems that were as genuine as a soldier's wound or a row of stamping machines. And Lowenfeld's rightly identified him as the last surviving proletarian poet. Then, as the bonds which gripped him relaxed somewhat over the years, his writing extended into poems of relationships governed not by economic necessities, but cosmic fates, astral reckonings, and passions, mystical adventurings. In many of his later poems, symbols float, images abound. They are no longer bound to their subject. Vincent was born as Venanzio, after the patron saint of his father's town, in 1913 in the industrial city of Lynn. I don't know if this was, this book hasn't been reprinted, but George made a little mistake there. He wasn't born in Lynn. He was born in Saugus. And then his parents moved here to Lynn when, I don't know how old he was, but my father was born in Lynn, and the other brother, Dante. He was a child of immigrants, part of the great wave reaching these shores in 1909. His father was a Christian anarchist from Riano in central Italy, and his mother from Bella, further to the south. Lynn at that time was the largest manufacturer of shoes in the world, and his father was a shoe worker. Like Niccolo Sacco, the boy grew up in Sacco and Vanzetti's Massachusetts, among dumps and tidal creeks, the salt of the tenements. He graduated from high school. Barely, he had shown his poems to the head of the English department, and the verdict was flat. You will never be a poet. But his real education, his real degree, was from this place, the Lynn Public Library. I get kind of choked up thinking about Vincent here. But I'm glad, I'm glad we're all here. It was a period of turmoil worthy of a Shelleyan poet. His hair was down to his shoulders. His father, disturbed he was bringing attention to himself, scolds, "When are you going to get a haircut?" He was intense, fanatic in his own words. Only books are real. He wears a long black coat down to his ankles and the black fedora hat, carrying a black bag which he fills up with library books that he cannot bear to part with. He accumulates a library of his own from the public library, his bedroom lined with the ceilings with books. He emerges from the solitary cell only to eat and without a word go back. There he lives with Socrates and Shakespeare. Finally, after 2 years, stricken with guilt and remorse, returns the books intermittently. He parks the books in a black bag and nervously tucks them back into the military rows, keeping an eye cocked until the last chain of the gold of guilt falls from him.